Now, you might have heard of GHP through a friend or teacher, but before you go along with what someone else suggested you do with your own time, first, have some reasons for yourself to go. That's what you'll be answering in the first stages of the application process. GHP is basically an early college experience, so you can search for internship opportunities on campus, hang out with friends who are literally a minute's walk away, and progress towards your intended major of study, all in only 4 weeks. As long as you have relevant experience like high A's in related subjects, the passion to learn, and involvement in a few related clubs or competitions, you're good to begin. If you're anything like how I was, you're probably a bit nervous about the 2 interviews you'll have to go through. Perhaps you didn't even know there was going to be 2 interviews, and that's okay too. Different majors have different application processes, but the standard my year was an early portfolio or problem set, followed by an interview, then an online application over winter break, and finally an interview at Statesboro for GHP at GSU. I'll be going over most of the video as a math major, but other majors are featured as well. First off, the math majors. Course offerings are very diverse, from string theory to proofs to deconstructing Sudoku. You'll have 2 projects. First, one where you review scholarly articles and give a presentation on a unique topic you like to a small research group. And a second one where you give a more complete presentation at a math fair. Apart from that, there's optional challenge sets that have a leaderboard for those who are there for the full math experience, which you can work on during lunch or dinner for around 2 days before turning in. And for my year GHP 60, my math professors would see if anyone was interested in collaborating with them on research papers. Moving on, engineering majors will have involvement in Python, 3D modeling and building houses, and a final project of building a machine with real-world applications to present to the community. Visual arts majors will begin with workshops, which are a collection of projects like charcoal drawing, 3D still life. Then during the last 2 weeks, they'll let you create anything you want using the skills you've learned and the pieces you've made. Most of them, to my knowledge, had no homework. Music majors, no matter what your instrument, have performances almost every week and are by far the busiest on average. Social studies majors, as shown by the right 2 pictures, will be mainly focused on creating a product/service and company for the first few weeks, and during the later weeks will present their company to a large room via a Shark Tank event. Although I don't have any pictures from the comm arts performances or of the language majors like Spanish, Latin, and German, what I've heard from friends in them was that the work was generally light or optional, except for a few days taken up by a research project. Comm arts people notably had coffee houses where they would read or act out a story they had written on stage, and had daily classes on anything ranging from fantasy writing, philosophy and dystopia, to psychology and cultural awareness. Finally, for science majors, it's a mixed bag. Some people said they got to watch movies and had no homework most days, while others had busy schedules writing lab reports, dissecting pigs and sheep, and studying algicides and criminal forensics. As for minors, here's a list of the ones offered during my year, but during GHP 61 they removed pop psychology and replaced it with mythology, so your list will likely only be similar as well. For minors, with rotation listed next to them, you'll get to choose in what order you want to participate in a selection of topics. When I minored in science, we were given epidemiology, bread baking, basically fermentation, circuits, and true crime, or decomposition. Though there will be minor changes to the schedules and events, GHP at GSU or any other place really will be mostly the same as previous years. You'll wake up at 6-something a.m., walk from your dorms with a buddy to the dining hall in the top right picture, have breakfast, and go to your majors. After majors is lunch, then minors or electives, as some people call them, which you'll get to spend the first few days picking. You'll get a break after for dinner and other things, then you'll be able to go to mixed sessions called seminars, which are social events around campus from the RAs. At the end of this, sleep will probably be one of the last things you want to do. Besides what's listed on the handbook, people usually bring cards like Uno, Exploding Kittens, and normal cards for fish, President, spoons, or they just bring their Nintendo Switch. You should also consider Brito water purifiers, since usually it's over 90 degrees on campus, full sun, and rarely does it rain. So these are some of the advertised events that would be planned. And yes, while there are pool and ping pong kits, whether they'll actually be playable is a whole nother issue. Additionally, there was a chess set in the uppermost lounge room for the boys, but for the girls, I honestly don't know. Finally, if any of you were wondering this far ahead, yes, the food at GHP was pretty good.